generation, I guess. Old school, yeah. Like your favorite thing. A little bit smudgy there now, but now we're going to get it comfortable. Welcome back to the Newfoundland Hobbyist and to a very special build. Today we're going to be working through one of the finest knife set builds that I've done today. A very special build for a client out of Ontario. That is a kitchen knife set, a full set. We're not going to do the block today. We're also going to be doing a kitchen counter block. That'll be in next week's episode. But for today, we're going to build a full set of knives and you're in for a treat. Now, what I wanted to start off with today is give you a little bit of backstory as to my knife making career. Because knife making is not any particular trade or anything in the usual realm of jobs, the question I usually get when people visit my shop is, how did you get into this? How did you get started making knives? And the story is always about the same. So at approximately 2013, 2014, I began in the hobby of whetstone sharpening, water stone sharpening. I had always been around knives and enjoyed knives and always carried a pocket knife. Even growing up through junior high and high school, I carried a pocket knife in my pocket. Just part of growing up in rural Newfoundland. But in around that 2013-2014 mark, a good friend got me into water stone sharpening. And I was just fascinated with this hobby of using stones to sharpen my knives. And I grew into this hobby and I started purchasing some whetstones, and that is when I started uploading some videos to youtube.com. I didn't really have any idea of what a channel was at that time, but I knew you could post videos, and so I started posting videos, some tutorials showing sharpening and different things, and lots of time in the outdoors like this. Looks like we've removed just enough steel to take out the dents, so now we'll go to the 1000 synthetic and start trying to re-establish the primary edge. Alright guys, let's polish with the 6000. So now we're going to take it up a notch. What that led to over a short period of time was people reaching out and contacting me asking if I could sharpen their knives. That led to a few years later actually partnering with a friend and starting a little business called Atlantic Sharpening, where we were sharpening knives for people, chefs, outdoorsmen, hunters and guides from all over the province, and also taking in knives shipped from out of province, knives shipped from all over the world actually to be hand sharpened, because it is a little bit of a tricky skill. I advocate everyone learning to sharpen your own knives, but I will admit hand sharpening is a little bit of a skill. You have to put the time in to learn it. Now, after spending quite an amount of time investing in this hobby and getting to the point of sharpening at a professional level now, I started getting requests for restorations. So yeah, I want to send my knife in for sharpening, but could you repair the sheath or could you fix the handle? So I started developing this whole skill set, and I started buying leather scraps and a few leather working tools, and increasing in that hobby and skill set of leather working, handle repair, brass work, peen work, different things like that. Just building this big tool set and big skill set. Now this pattern is happening, and at this point I'm sharpening knives, I'm reprofiling knives, I'm refinishing knives, restoring, I'm replacing handles, I'm building new sheaths because the sheaths that were sent in, the antique sheaths, were just falling apart. So at this point, the only thing I haven't done, and the next logical step, was to actually build my own knife right from scratch. So in 2017, that is what I did. When I moved back here to rural Newfoundland again, I decided to make my own knife. And at that point, it almost wasn't a big step to build my own knife because I had done everything besides carve out the steel and heat treat from scratch. Everything else I had already done. And so that's what I did with almost no tooling. I made my first knife. Manage for a few blades. I can manage to wait a minute or two and kind of stir the heat up out of the oil, but after this many blades now, the oil has just, after the last one, which was that big chopper, brought the temp of the oil way up. Now, we talked earlier about my YouTube channel, my YouTube platform. All the while this progression is going along with my skill set and my tool set, I'm documenting what I'm doing. I'm showing my progress. I'm showing the projects I'm doing, just like you're able to watch me do here right now on this TV series, The Newfoundland Hobbyist. And what's happening is, as people are seeing this unfold, they're looking for that product. So, when I built my first batch of knives, they sold like that. And I said, I think I'm onto something here. And so I documented myself building another set, and they sold. They were sold before they were completed. And this progression has happened, and now we get to a point where I've moved from this workshop to the workshop we're in now, and invested in all sorts of tooling, and I'm building knives for clients all over the world, just like this beautiful set that you're going to see crafted right now. From brutal offshore drilling platforms all the way to the homeowner and hobbyist, Lincoln Electric's 125 years of experience provides the quality you need to get the job done right. The Newfoundland Hobbyist is sponsored by Lincoln Electric. Now, when I get an order for a custom knife, it can go one of a couple different ways. Either the client has everything chosen, they know exactly what they want, and they're just looking for a maker like myself to craft it for them, or they want something special. They don't know what they want, but they want you to just kind of steer them in the right way. Then there's something in the middle, which is where this set comes along. I have a client that's looking for a kitchen set that is an absolute showstopper set. Just beautiful, magnificent, sitting on the counter, that performs really well. And this client also knows the style of knives they want, the dimensions, everything pretty well chosen, but giving me some creative freedom as to how I execute that, leaving a little freedom in the craftsman's hands. Now, regarding the set we're building here right now, there are 5 different knives selected, and that is a German-style full-tang chef's knife, a Japanese-style knife called a nakiri, which is that flat nose knife. Some of you probably aren't familiar with that design, but you can go ahead and search it, a nakiri. The other one is a long serrated knife that could be used for breads or briskets, meats, things like that. Serrated edge knife. Then we have 2 small knives, both classed in the paring range, but one is more of a traditional German-style paring knife, a small use utility knife. and the other is a little mini nakiri, which is a very interesting design. I'm excited to see it at play here in this set. Now we're approaching the biggest obstacle at this point regarding this set, and that is the finish of the blades themselves. This client wants fully polished blades, which is a monumental task on surfaces this large. Now when it comes to polishing a surface, almost any surface can be brought to a polish. All a polished surface means is that you've reduced the scratches on the surface to a point where they're not really visible to the naked eye anymore, and at that point it looks like one glassy surface. So with a blade, normally I'd grind up to a certain belt grit with the grinding belt and the grinder, and you can see in the finished blade there are those striations, that scratch pattern. And you can bring that up to a finer and finer pattern, and at a certain point I have to move away from the belt grinder and you have to start hand finishing. We'll move through various grits of sandpaper and various tools to the point where they're finished by hand, and we take the scratches up to the point where they're almost not visible. Then we'll move from there to a buffing machine, which is almost like a bench grinder with a fiber wheel. We'll use a polishing compound, which has an extremely fine grit, and that'll just wipe away the remaining scratches to leave a finish that's almost perfect, as perfect as we can get. And you can move through several different grades of compound as well. You can take this to the most extreme level, but it is a big process. There are certain materials that you can get to that polished stage really quickly because the material's soft and malleable and easy, but when it comes to hardened carbon steel like this, it's a very tough process to remove all of those scratches. Now, as I said, one of those knives is a serrated knife, and it's a lengthy knife. I don't have a way to really cut serrations except by hand. So these are going to be hand-cut serrations. And serrations, by serrations I mean teeth cut into the knife. That's what we're going to do. Every tooth cut by hand, and these serrations have to be done post-heat treat. So that means the steel is very hard and can't be cut with a normal file, like a round file, a chainsaw file, anything like that. They need to be cut with diamond files. So I'll start with the Dremel. They'll get a little bit of hand cutting with some small diamond needle files at the end. We'll bring this knife into shape. We're on the home stretch, guys, and that is to start grinding in all these handles. And this is the point. This is honestly the most fun part of the project. Cutting them out is fun. You get to see the blade and hold them in hand, and it's fun grinding the bevels and getting them just right where you know, wow, these are going to really be performers. Then it's fun building the scales and you know, getting everything set up and dialed in. But it's not until this stage right now where you can really see what you have, because they're just ugly blocks here, and of course they have the pretty colors in it. But it's not until this stage that you see your finished knife, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm just really excited. Of course, the most daunting part of this project is the mirror polishing. So now that we have that behind us, oh, it's just a walk in the park from here on out. So I'm gonna have some fun now. I'm gonna take my time, perimeter grind these, and we're gonna start shaping up some beautiful handles.
King Canada has been bringing quality machinery, tools, and equipment to the North American market for over 38 years. They offer innovative products for all applications, for the industrial and commercial setting, as well as the homeowner and hobbyist. King Canada is a sponsor of the Newfoundland Hobbyist.
And here is the resulting set of all our hard work. Here is that nakiri. Not sharpened yet. We'll take care of that in the next video. But look at that finish, my friends. We have that light maple, a natural curly maple here. We have a blue curly maple here with black G10 liners. Black G10 liners. These are just something else. Look at that. Premium fit and finish. Very excited. And then of course we have that German style. This is more of a German style blade with that traditional hilt right here. This pronunciation, that'll have to be taken care of and looked after with sharpenings in the future. But still, this would be my preferred style of knife to be used in the kitchen on a regular basis. And the feel of this, every handle of course is designed to be entirely ergonomic, to just feel wonderful in the hand. We have that serrated piece. Now this knife is sharpened, but of course serrations won't dice your skin like a sharpened edge will. A little different styling on this piece, you can see. Just went with something very, very nice here. And then these two little gems, like we said, that nakiri, a mini nakiri, so this matches the larger one, and it's just an awesome, awesome little utility knife for the kitchen. And then we have more of a standard paring knife. So this would be pretty typical of what you would get in a knife set for a paring knife. Again, for a German style, we have this slight hilt here right at the rear of the knife. All matching handles. You can see that 3-pin design, handle and spacer. But this knife feels just as good as any of the others, with just a beautiful feel. The ergonomics are wonderful. I would love to be putting these to use in the kitchen myself. Now a knife set like this is a huge undertaking for both the client and myself. Of course, a significant financial purchase for the client to have something of this scale, handcrafted, built to spec. And of course, it's a big job for myself and my workshop as well. Quite a bit of effort, a lot of materials, but the rewards, guys, of building something physical like this. So many people now, as we move to a more digitized world and the workforce is changing, the way we do things is quite different. But nothing beats the reward you can get from producing something physical or tangible. That's not just on a digital sheet on a screen that you send it away and it's gone. And, well, there we go, completed task. My 2 months of work just got emailed off, and I don't see anyone's face, and I don't know the results. It's just that effort seems to be lost in the wind. The rewards compared to producing something physical, tangible, that we can hold and that I know or hope will be here in decades to come and be sitting on that counter and be passed through Christmas family traditions and New Year's celebrations, and the reward that comes from that, from building something like that, is extremely high. The return, the value for me is very high, and I assume for the clients as well, as they continue to come and purchase these treasures, these handcrafted pieces. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you took something away in terms of being inspired to try something new from my story of how I began to where I am now along the journey, just from posting content, showing my craftsmanship, increasing in skill, and making sure to stay in touch with you all. You can really move along and make some progress. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you tune in next week as we finish that knife block. Don't forget to come back. Make sure you tune in next week to the Newfoundland Hobbyists.